It was a classic Tulsa Friday night. The air was thick with humidity and the promise of mischief. Underneath the buzzing neon sign of the Deluxe Drive-In, laughter echoed from a group of friends huddled around a vintage Ford Mustang. There was Jessica, the aspiring filmmaker, her camera clutched protectively in her hand. Beside her, Maya, the sharp-tongued queen bee of their group, adjusted her lipstick in the reflection of her phone. Rounding out their quartet were Chloe, the shy bookworm, and Erin, the athlete, who was busy playfully shoving her boyfriend, Jake. Jake, the quintessential jock with a heart of gold, feigned offense at Erin's playful jab. His best friend, Ryan, a lanky tech whiz, barely looked up from his phone, too busy trying to impress Chloe with his encyclopedic knowledge of horror movie trivia. The final two in their group, Chris, the class clown, and his laid-back best friend Daniel, provided a running commentary on the passing cars, their jokes punctuated by bursts of laughter. They were young, they were carefree, and they were completely oblivious to the dark figure lurking in the shadows, its eyes gleaming with malevolent intent. As the opening credits flickered to life on the big screen, a chill snaked down Jessica's spine. She couldn't shake off the feeling of being watched, the hairs on the back of her neck prickling with unease. "Anyone else feel like we're being watched?" she whispered, her eyes scanning the rows of parked cars. "Relax, Jess," laughed Jake, draping an arm around a giggling Erin. "It's just a movie. Besides, what's scarier than spending a Friday night with your grandparents?" His attempt at humor did little to ease the growing tension. A sudden rustling from the row behind them sent a jolt of fear through the group. They whipped around, hearts pounding. Empty, just a stray popcorn bucket tumbling in the wind. "See, nothing," scoffed Ryan, but even his voice lacked its usual confidence. Maya, however, wasn't convinced. "Maybe it's just the Tulsa wind," she said, her eyes narrowed. "Or maybe it's something else." Unbeknownst to the teenagers, the source of the rustling sound was closer than they thought. Concealed in the darkness between two cars, a figure clad in a black cloak and the chilling visage of Ghostface watched their every move, a cruel smile spreading beneath its mask. The night was young, the movie was just beginning, and the hunt was on. The air grew heavy with dread as the movie progressed. Each on-screen jump scare, every creak of the old metal chairs, sent shivers down their spines. The playful banter that had filled the air earlier had died down, replaced by a tense silence broken only by the sounds of the film and the occasional nervous whisper. Even Chris's usually boundless humor seemed to have deserted him. He kept glancing over his shoulder, his eyes wide with fear. "Dude, chill," hissed Daniel, nudging him with his elbow. "It's just a movie." But his words held little conviction. The feeling of being watched, of being hunted, was almost tangible now. It was during a particularly gruesome scene, the screams of the victim echoing through the drive-in, that Chloe gasped, pointing a trembling finger towards the concession stand. "He's there," she whispered, her voice tight with terror. Their eyes followed her gaze. And there, standing by the deserted concession stand, illuminated by a flash of lightning, was a figure in a black cloak, the chilling mask of Ghostface staring back at them. Panic surged through the group. Before anyone could react, the figure darted back into the darkness, disappearing between the rows of cars. Terror etched on their faces. The teenagers huddled closer, their carefree night shattered, replaced by the chilling realization that they were no longer just watching a horror movie. They were living one. The drive-in had become a hunting ground. The air, once filled with the smell of popcorn and laughter, now reeked of fear and adrenaline. Their haven of teenage freedom had morphed into a labyrinth of shadows and whispered threats. They knew they had to escape, to find help. But Ghostface was always one step ahead, herding them deeper into the labyrinthine rows of cars, picking them off one by one. Ryan, phone clattering to the ground, was the first to fall, a strangled scream cut short by the swish of a hunting knife. Then it was Chris, his joke silenced forever in a desperate attempt to protect Daniel. Driven by a primal need to survive, The remaining teenagers fought back. Erin, fueled by adrenaline and fury, used her athleticism to land a blow on their attacker, creating a window for Jessica, Maya, and Chloe to make a run for it. The final confrontation was a blur of flashing lights, desperate screams, and the metallic tang of blood. When the police sirens finally pierced the night, their red and blue lights painting the drive-in in an eerie glow, they found a scene of carnage. Ghostface was gone, vanished into the night, leaving behind a trail of bodies and unanswered questions. The survivors, their clothes stained with blood and tears, were forever changed, haunted by the memory of that horrific night at the Deluxe Drive-In, a night when the silver screen nightmares became their living hell.